Striking Scorpion 82 is now sponsored by Knighthood. Battle epic friends and foes in a living fantasy RPG world full of mysterious monsters and mighty enemies as you strive to become the land's most feared and famous knighthood. Win rare treasure in hunts and quests to improve your gear and up your game. Collect ancient heroes to fight by your side and summon their abilities in times of need. Fully customise your member of the knighthood, join a guild, fight epic battles and win glory in the PvP arena. Free to download and play, link in the video description below, and when you download the game it helps support the channel. Thanks and enjoy the game. Right, welcome to this battlefield terrain tutorial. I've got another setup for you in this video. It's a combination of a battle mat and then two terrain sets together to create this industrial city fight terrain. So the idea of this video, as per usual with this series, is to show you all the stages involved, the building up the battle mat, the terrain, the accessories, little finishing touches that you can do. You're welcome to copy this, and there's no reason why you can't have the exact same setup for your own games of 40k. So painting up your army, that's one part of the hobby. Another very rewarding part of the hobby is creating your own battlefields to play on. You could have a brilliantly painted force, and yet if the backdrop's no good, then it really doesn't do all that hard work for your painting any service. So it's worth making the effort with terrain, and terrain can go from one edition of 40k to the next, can roll over through the years, and it is a good investment to make for sure. So the first step here is your foundation. That'll give you sort of your colours to work from. So I'm using a mat called Fallout Zone. It's from gamemat.eu. This one's 6x4 in size, but I've marked it off with an upside down mat across here to give us 60 inches across. Gamemat.eu now do this mat as a 44 inch by 60 mat. That's your standard size for 9th edition 40k, so it is available in that size. They also do double-sided mats as well, so you can get two designs on the one mat. So the great thing about battle mats is it just gives you all the colours straight away, so you've got a nice palette of colours to work from. I do like this one here, there's a lot of stuff going on. You've got your rubble, you've got other sort of rusty industrial textures going on, and you've also got details like these train tracks running here. This rubble, I can just bring the camera right in so you can see the detail on this one. This detail across here just creates just nice interesting zones across here. There's some craters as well going on just there. So it's a nice mat, a lot of rust and brown kind of colours going on here, but as you can see other coloured stuff blends in nicely. So we'll talk about the terrain in just a moment. The other thing with the battle mats is they're nice and quiet for dice rolling, figure friendly. If your models fall down, it's a nice sort of soft rubbery finish, and then you just simply roll them up. I store them in a tube or in the carry case, roll them up, and then store them away and just roll them back out again when you're ready to use them. And then they do come with a carry case as well, so you're able to carry them around as well if you're going to a club or to a friend's house. They're great for transportation as well. So that's the battle mat. Just simply roll it out nice and flat. You've immediately got colour onto the battlefield. So the next stage is your terrain. So what I've done for this terrain setup here is I wanted to city fight, but also to bring in some industrial stuff as well. So it's actually a combination of two sets. So first up is the Gothic Ruins Set, which I've featured in other videos before. Now this one's to give sort of that Gothic and feel to it, and also the height for this game. So I wanted a sort of high-rise type buildings, and the Gothic terrain set gives you that. So I'm actually using just one set, and you get all of these pieces in here. So this combination here, across the other side, this is the largest piece across here, and then there's other ruins, these two larger or medium-sized pieces, and another smaller piece across here. And they come in corners, so you're able to arrange them in any way that you want. You can make them stand alone, or you can combine them together. Across here I've done a larger piece and then a small, just to create the square, and then filled it with debris and so on there in the middle. But I love city fight here, and the great thing about these ruins is just the height that you can achieve with them. There's two stories, there's two extra levels for putting models, and great for line of sight blocking terrain as well. Nice atmospheric terrain piece to use. You could go another set of these if you wish. That would give you high-rise buildings all the way across the board. But to add a bit of variety, and I've then gone for the industrial terrain set from GameMat.eu, and that's not the entire set. It's about half of what they do for that set. It's a larger set. You get this larger building across here. You get 4 of these. I'm featuring 3 in this video. So there's 1. You see how nicely it blends in with the terrain across here. Now, it's pre-painted. It comes to you sort of in these colours across here. And then there is a tutorial on the channel. That you should see a link for that in the video description below, how to sort of revamp and just add a bit of extra detail to the industrial terrain set. I simply added a colour here, some extra effects, a bit of chipping effect going on. And that gives you the kind of results that you see just there. I've used some of my transfers from my Adeptus Mechanicus army. So that's how it features on that one. There's two others across the other side, painted in the corn red, just the same colour I used for my Adeptus Mechanicus Force. Same colour scheme going on with this one as well. And then I've also used a material, these struts across here. It comes as sort of white plastic. You can get it from model railway shops or modelling shops. It's called Plastruct. They do all these H-beams and I-beams and so on. And then just using super glue, I've constructed this extra structure across here. I just added that on. It's just all super glued in place. Seems to be holding quite well. Extra struts across there. Some I-beams going through, some H-beams running across here. Super glued in. And then the mesh that you can see, massive fan of the stuff. That is aluminium mesh used for repairing damage on cars and bikes and so on. Now I get mine off eBay. If you type in car body repair kit or aluminium body repair kit, you should see this stuff coming up. Just like a fine aluminium mesh. And then I just cut it with scissors, regular scissors, to the size that you need. I'll just slice it, and that's a brilliant walkway. And you can bash it, put holes in it and so on, just to add a bit of realism. Washes with Agrax, Surfshade, Seraphim Sepium, so just to rust it up a little bit. That just gives you your walkways. You can also create like separate walkways that you can then connect from one building to the next, just really make up your own sort of mesh terrain. Same material, Plastruct here, and the mesh, exactly the same stuff that you see on these fences. You can build your own mesh fences as well, and they look like that. And again, big fan of those. I've just cut some H-beams here to make these bits, just to make it stand alone. And you can see the H-beams just there. So get a hold of variety. There's no real fixed size. You can experiment with it. They sell it in lengths of about 1 meter, I believe. You can get a hold of that and just experiment. Build some stuff. Build some fences. Build some walkways and so on. Have some fun doing that. I really enjoy putting those kind of things together. And it just creates a few extra levels here on this larger piece, or you can have it as it comes. It's no problem. Across over in this corner, 2 large containers. The industrial terrain set actually comes with 4, but I'm using 2. And again, I've added a bit of colour onto those using Avalon Sunset. Another great feature is the posters, which you can see. Another great touch just to make it nice and 40k. So really, those 2 terrain sets, not even using a full set for the industrial terrain, but that's a full Gothic terrain or ruin set there. And then half the industrial terrain set. That's filled this board out really well. Then after that, just adding a few accessories. Ammunition crates, it's all Warhammer stuff. These containers here, I've sprayed them up green, but they are part of the industrial terrain set as well. These barrels. Some accessories, GW, Adeptus Mechanicus, that's their barricades as well. Just place little areas of interest, so you've got just little features on the battlefield. Just to add to the realism. Put a barricade across this road here. And the final touch is your stones and scatter, which really adds to the realism. Just a bag of stones. I've actually sprayed these up with the a variety of paints, mostly grey. So I've actually sprayed these up with the same grey that I use for my basing on a lot of my models. You can use any colour that you want. Grey is quite universal, and then to make it a little bit more realistic, I then put it into a tray and then used like Agrax Earthshade on it and stirred it in just to add that weathered sort of brown kind of look to those stones. They're just not like a pure grey colour, but there's a bit of brown stuff going on. You can water down some brown paint, or what you can do is take some brown spray and just sort of dash it across. That'll save you putting the wash for it. But that's the kind of colours going on that you can get. It's not just a pure grey, there's some other colours going on, some browns and so on coming in, so that when you're putting that down, it just blends in nicely with the terrain. But I highly recommend you do that. In amongst the stones, I just sort of throw in spare bits from kits. So some GW terrain spare bits, just spray and paint them up. Again, the same kind of washes, Agrax Surfshade or Seraphim Sepia, just to rust them up and just drop them into the bag, and they just fill out these kind of bits quite nicely. It's an older Games Workshop terrain set, just partially painted up, spare pieces from that terrain set. Other accessories. From painting up kits, there's some spare Plastruct stuff, some spare beams from making fences, just break them up, spray them up, rust them up, drop them in as well. Games Workshop terrain. So all those little accessories just add to the realism. There's a las gun, painted up guard, again, basic paint job, some Seraphim Sepia Agrax Surfshade, and you've got yourself a rusting weapon just left abandoned in the street. So all those kind of details just really help to add to the realism, to immerse yourself into the grim dark world of Warhammer 40,000. So that's pretty much the video. This is a very easy one to do. Add Gothic Ruins, Industrial Terrain Set, add Battle Mat across here, and you've got yourself plenty of variety. You can do these buildings, different combinations. You can bring in the other half of the Industrial Terrain Set, really change things around. There's lots of variety indeed. And then really a small amount of accessories. Get yourself some stones. It's worth the effort, and it all just blends in nicely. So what you've got is like stones printed onto the board, and then real stones. So you just scatter it on top. You just blend in the terrain piece into the battle mat, and just using stones just to blend the whole thing in, just to add to the realism. And that's the kind of effect that you can get with not much effort at all. So that's the video. What I'll do is we'll close out with some music. We'll just pan around so you can get an idea of the full table and how it looks, and then check out the links below for the different items I've talked about here in this video. Some links to some tutorials and so on as well. For GameMet.eu, there is a link for them in the video description, a discount code for you as well. So if you do get a hold of some stuff from them, be sure to use the code to get the discount. Oh yeah, before you go, there's another touch that you can do, and that's to add in burnt out and abandoned vehicles. So a burnt out Razorback here for the Blood Angels. So just taking the model, throwing some stones and scatter over the top, and then I have done a tutorial on the channel for these burning vehicle markers. Now you just place those on top. It's just a great feature to have on the battlefield. So that one's burnt out. There's another one across there. You'll see it when we pan around a bit later on. There's another burnt out Battle Predator there as well. It's an easy accessory to add on, and again, just to add some real personality and flavour to the battlefield. But that's the video. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time.